was at the edge of burnout, was going through a divorce. I still had the house and the mortgage. I needed to earn money, and I'd moved this job to earn more money at the beginning of this separation. I just knew something had to give. Like, no, this isn't how I want to do HR. I don't want to work in HR in organizations like this, where it's all lip service and I'm not able to influence in the way that I want to influence. So yeah, I quit. It was the first time that I actually felt like I had full control, and that is very freeing. Just stick my middle finger up and yeah, go for it.
How long did it take for you to feel like you'd made the right decision?
I hit 10 months in and I had just surpassed what I had earned in my previous job. I was like, shit, okay, cool. This'll work. Here I am 3 years later with a consultancy and 2 brands and a team.
For the people listening and watching at home, can you just paint a bit of a picture as to who you are and what you're currently doing in your professional world?
Okay, so I am Ella. I'm a HR consultant and I own a HR consultancy. I'm based in Buckinghamshire. I'm a mum, a business owner, and yeah, I'm just busy. I'm a busy person. After spending 15 years in the corporate world, I decided to set up on my own. Not really knowing what was going to happen, and here I am 3 years later with a consultancy and 2 brands and a team. So yeah, that's me.
Amazing. And I'm really pleased that you brought up that you were in the corporate world before, because when I was looking over my notes this morning before we got on here, you're not the first person that I've spoken to who is in the HR realm who left a larger organization because the culture
Mm,
was crap, for lack of a better
yeah,
description.
yeah.
And I'm just curious whether you have a sense of, I guess, why the culture sometimes suffers as companies get larger and what you think maybe goes wrong there.
Yeah, I mean, I worked with I've worked with large organizations that have had a really great culture, and I've worked with large organizations that when I started had a crap culture and developed an amazing culture, and then were taken over by a larger, and then the culture went to shit. And I've worked with other organizations where I just went in and straight away it was the leadership kind of, not even the top leader, but my leadership, um, I was reporting into as a director that really changed the culture for me. And I think
Mm,
it was a big difference between what they wanted the culture to be and what they said it was, and the reality of actually working there. That culture was a complete mismatch to what they said. And it was that classic Pizza Friday, uh, kind of ping pong table in the breakout rooms. It was really cool. It was a techie. Um, but actually, there was no psychological safety.
mm,
And so they had all this lovely, flashy stuff and they had loads of money and everyone was being paid loads of money. But I had no psychological safety. I had no idea when. I knew it was going to come, but I didn't know when I was going to get thrown under a bus. I didn't have trust with my colleagues. I didn't, everyone was trying so hard to please
mhm,
the leadership team, and show that they were committed, that they forgot the team dynamic and actually the culture needs to be there.
mm,
And so it didn't matter how much money they threw at it, and they had lots. The culture was just rubbish because I didn't trust anybody and I didn't think anyone had my back. And if I asked a question, I didn't know if I'd get the honest answer and I would be
mm,
led down a garden path. And when you, for me, that's where culture dies and where there's a mismatch of when it looks lovely and shiny and actually it's all it's all for show. It's all kind of
mhm,
making a turd glittery, if you like. Like,
mhm,
it looked beautiful from the outside, and I walked in there, I was like, "Wow, this is gonna be amazing." And it was horrible. But then before I left there, I'd left because of a culture issue, and that was a very large local government organization, and you expect it at a large public sector kind of organization where the cogs are slow, and everybody you've got half the people there that are still on that kind of job for lifers, that they go into local government because it's stable and they're never going to lose a
mhm,
job. And you've got those that kind of the dinosaurs, if you like, that are kind of they've hung around, but they're doing the bare minimum. And then you have these people where they've been trying to attract the younger workforce and the kind of more motivated and change the culture, but they're jammed together. And it's really frustrating because you've got people that wanna work at pace, you've got people that want to make a difference, and
mhm,
they're being held back, and so they were two very different cultures, shit for different reasons.
mhm,
So there's not really a one size fits all of why it fails. It's just yeah, I think after those 2 back to back, I was like, "No, I can't do it. I can't. I just need to take a break," and I got to
mhm,
that point of burnout and, um just went, no, this isn't how I want to do HR. I don't want to work in HR in organizations like this,
mhm,
where it's all lip service
mhm,
and I'm not able to influence in the way that I want to influence because of other powers and not getting that space. So yeah, that's why I then kind of did my consultancy journey to kind of be like, well, actually, let's work with organizations
mhm,
to get the culture they want and actually put their money where their mouth is and make both match.
mhm. Do you think as you get into those larger companies, do you think that people kind of put up with it because generally speaking, there's more money and there's higher salaries and the risk reward is maybe you've got that higher pay potentially, so you kind of
Mm.
put up with the crap from the leadership team, or is that a very basic way of explaining it?
I think it depends on the sector, if I'm
Yeah.
honest. I think so those 2 examples I gave, one was tech. That's where
Mhm.
the money was. It wasn't
Yeah.
as big as the local government, but it was big enough. And there it was people stayed, I think, because of the money and because it looked shiny. And I think where teams got it right and where they had a head that did push that culture, um, I'm sure it was quite nice. But in the time that I was there, all the new starters that started around the same time as me all left within the same 6 months as me as well.
Mm,
So they had their long termers, but then they were churning who were coming in. Um, and but then in the local government authority where it was much larger scale, the draw to stay is very different. It's the pension scheme, it's
mhm,
the benefits, it's the annual leave, it's the flexible working policies, it's that you can have 6 months full pay sickness.
mhm,
Um, and it's that thought of stability, probably the psychological safety more so there, but actually it's where your dreams go to die is where it became for me. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, I remember having a conversation before I went on maternity leave while I was there, and I had a conversation on my last day before I went on maternity leave, and then I came back 5 months later and had the exact same conversation and gave the exact same advice to the exact same person, and they had not moved an inch in 5
Mhm,
months. Everything just stood still, and I just went, "No, I can't. I'm just" it's like banging your head. So 2 very different reasons, both large organizations, both with very different budgets. Salaries weren't as high in local
mhm,
authority, but actually everything else that came with it was a real draw, and that's
mm,
probably why people stayed. They just kind of if they stay, they kind of accept that they're not gonna be able to make that change, and they're okay with that. They have to
mm,
get okay with that and get comfortable with the fact that this is how it's always gonna be.
mm. Now, you leaving that corporate role,
Mm.
when we were talking before was really, to me, a very inspiring origin story of your entrepreneurial journey
Right.
because from what you told me, you decided to leave the company because you didn't like the culture. Fair enough. You didn't have anywhere to go to.
Yep.
You were going through a separation and you had three young children
Yeah.
and you decided to set up a business.
Just stick my middle finger up and yeah, go for
Just
it. Yeah.
how did you go about just, I guess, making it happen?
Yeah, okay, so
There's a lot
yeah,
there.
yeah, so making it happen, I mean, I just knew something had to give, like I said, I think I was at the edge of burnout, was going through a divorce, I still had the house and the mortgage, I needed to earn money, and I've moved this job to earn more money at the beginning of this separation, um, and all of my children, they were young. So my youngest was 1, my eldest was 6. And so one of them was always going to be ill with something.
Mhm.
And I just remember going, I can't go and do this again with another corporate. I can't go through the heartbreak and the putting myself out there, thinking this is a great role, seeing the shiny label. And I just thought, right. So yeah, I quit. I It was January as well, like the worst month, most depressing month. Quit job and have no income.
Way to make it harder.
And so I just threw myself into it. I kind of spent I'll give myself 6 months, throw everything at it. And if it doesn't work, after 6 months of credit cards, because I just managed to clear all of those off. I was fortunate enough to have a little bit of money from an unfortunate event of a family member passing, but I managed to kind of clear everything off. So I had a fresh deck.
Uh-huh.
Not many people have, but I did still obviously have the mortgage and everything else, very big one, and childcare costs. And I just went, right, if it doesn't work after 6 months, I'll go and be a grown up again. And I'll go get a proper job and go back into the corporate life. So I think the first thing I did was just reached out to connections. So I had a wonderful mentor, um, Karen. She was amazing, and she was always, as I've always known her, as an interim. So I kind of reached out to her and said, "Like, this is what's happened, and um, let me know. Like, I'd love to hear a bit more about how you do it." And she connected me with one of my old local government directors, and he needed some support straight away, restructuring a HR team. So I was like, "Sure, I'll give that a go." And it was actually perfect for me because it was a day rate and it was kind of 3 days a week. I could trial it, test it, get out there a little bit more because my confidence was crushed. But it was someone I knew and it was someone familiar. And so I was doing that during the day, and then on my off days when the children were in childcare, I would then be building my website, looking at my offerings, taking everything in like a sponge. And then at that point, because I was in that burnout, I was still needing to nap like 2 hours a day. Like
Mhm.
any part of activity, I was just exhausted. So I was trying to navigate it all, and then in the evenings, trying to like go daddying my website. Um, and then, yeah, I reached out to a few other connections who they needed this or they needed that, and um, just started kind of grafting really and just learning all the basics really fast. Like, how the fuck do I do LinkedIn? And what do I need? Do I need a zero? Do I need QuickBooks? Do I need an accountant? Do I need to be limited? I just went on this huge journey of what do I need? And I'm ADHD, so I I hyper focus and
Mhm.
then I go, "Oh my God, I'm so sick of that," because I get a new hobby. I buy everything you could ever think of for that hobby,
Mhm.
5,000 things you could ever possibly need. And then I don't want to do it anymore and I've moved on. So for me, it was about trying to stay focused, but also as soon as I got an idea, within 5 minutes, I bought 3 domain names, an email address, I've registered on Company's House. So everything went really fast, but
Mhm.
at the same time, I was kind of like just winging it. Just like, let's just give this a go. Throw that in there, throw that in there. And there was a lot of failing, a lot of like money spent where it didn't need to be spent in the early days. But it was, it was the first time that I actually felt like I had full control,
Mm,
and that is very freeing. Of just kind of going, "Actually, I'm only accountable to me.
mhm,
My children are looking to me to make this happen, so I'm going to make this happen." Um, and I'll have nobody else, like, no one's gonna catch me. There's no money coming in anywhere else. There was no maintenance or support from the children's father. So it was just like, "It's on me."
mm,
Like, I have to get myself out of this hole, and I
mhm.
will. So I did. It was great.
How long did it take for you to feel like you'd made the right decision? You say you gave yourself 6 months. I imagine that was a financial number because that's how long you could
Yeah.
last.
Yeah.
Like, when did you start to feel like, "Yeah, I've got the hang of this, like, money's coming in, I can cover everything, I'm not too worried"? I mean, business owners are always worried, I think, a little bit about money no matter how much money you make.
Yeah. I mean, I still daily
Mm,
wonder if I've done the right thing, daily.
mhm,
But I think it was when I think after I hit 10 months in, and I had just surpassed what I had earned in my previous job
mhm.
in a year, that I was like, "Oh, fucking hell. This
Yeah.
is all right. I can do this actually." And I wasn't as stressed. I wasn't as burnt out. I wasn't working the same hours as I was working before. Um, and I remember looking at that going, okay. And then I remember the accountant telling me after kind of, it was just over a year, he was like, "You're going to have to go VAT registered or you can't invoice again for another month."
Mhm,
And that was a real moment for me because that meant I'd hit that VAT threshold earlier than in a full year.
mhm,
I was like, "Shit, okay,
mm,
cool. This'll work."
mhm,
Um, but I don't know that I ever really believed that it was absolutely going to happen. I think I got my first proper retained client after a month. Um, and they're still my client now 3.5 years later, 3 years later, which is lovely. Um, but then I was like, "Okay, well, now I can't give up because they've just signed a 12-month contract."
mhm.
Um, and so then, yeah, I just kept pushing. I think I quite quickly gave up on the 6-month thing when the money was coming in, and then it was kind of like every time I thought, "Shit, this is getting a bit hairy. I'm not sure where the money's gonna come from, like, I haven't got a pipeline here."
Mhm.
It always seemed to just pull it out the bag just in time. Like,
Yeah.
I think every time I got panicky, I was like, "Right, okay, another couple of networking meetings. Get back out on LinkedIn. Let's give that person a call. Let's see what's going on there." And it just seemed to work. Um, so I never, but then, yeah, that September just quickly disappeared in my head, I
Mm,
guess. Like, because I launched in kind of March properly, March, April properly, and I just went, "Right, I've got till September." Just in my head
mm,
was, "I've got till September."
mm,
And then I think I started my second brand, Childcare HR, um, in the July, and I was like, "Well, I can't give up in September now
mhm.
because 'cause I'm just gonna go
You got
live
another thing to do.
now." Um, yeah, I don't really know the moment, but lots of little ones, I think.
Yeah. The
But
fact
even now, I'm like, "Shall I
yeah.
give it all?" It's so much simpler sometimes.
Yeah.
Just go and get a job again. Go get a proper job.
But then I guess you
Yeah.
lose that sense of it's a backwards sense of freedom, I find, in that you are 100% accountable and own your own time and what you want to be doing,
Yeah.
but you also probably work longer anyway, and you are actually accountable to your clients as well. You do own your
Yes.
time, but your clients, you are accountable to them too.
Yes. Yeah, it is. It is a weird sense of freedom.
Mm,
You're absolutely right. And I think any business owner will say the same thing. It's like, I've
mm,
never, like, you don't have to ask for your doctor's appointments or to leave early, or actually, I'm not feeling it today. I'm going to have a
mhm.
duvet day. And
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there are still things that, yeah, some days that you just can't do that. I couldn't call, like, just say this morning, "James, sorry, I'm having a duvet day." Like, you are still accountable, you're right. But it's you've chosen it, and
Mm,
you and yeah, I check my emails every day,
mhm,
every evening. We were just
mhm.
talking, I was working over Easter. It you do work longer hours, but the purpose is there. I think it's
Yeah.
that purpose that actually feels freeing, but just changes everything.
Mhm,
That actually I believe with what I'm doing,
mhm,
so I want to do it, and I want it to succeed, and actually it's bigger than me now.
mhm,
Um, People are relying on us, but they're not just relying on me anymore. They're relying on my team,
mhm,
and that's that's different. It hits different.
mhm. You mentioned, like, one of the first, I guess, sort of contracts you got was actually with, that government organization that you worked with before. Coming inside of that organization from a different angle as a contractor, were you able to do things and achieve things that you didn't feel like you were able to when you were actually there?
No, mainly because so when I went in as a kind of consultant for the council that I was working at, I was in as an independent investigating officer, so I was kind of
Mhm,
doing things for them that they were outsourcing. So I was never. It was kind of the only way I wanted to work with them because I was like, I don't want the politics with the big P and the little p. I don't
mhm,
want the unions. I don't want all of that stuff. I just want to get in, do that bit that I know I'm good at, and get out again. Um, and actually, it was really helpful for me because as an independent investigating officer, I was going into and kind of parachuted into lots of different areas that people I've never met before, including schools. So I'd be going
mhm,
into schools, and that was really helpful for me as a consultant trying to work with businesses, um, because I was basically practicing what I'd be doing with my own clients,
mhm.
and kind of going and meeting brand new people, building rapport, building trust, getting a job done, getting out, showing value. So it was really quite nice because I had a beginning and an end point, but I was just constantly like, I don't want to be back in there.
Mhm,
I can't be back in there.
mhm,
It was like now I can do pace and I can do things in my own way. I couldn't then go back into a cog of just slow. There were opportunities to be like, "Can you come back and join the team, or can you come and do this project for us within the HR team?" I was like, "I'm just not here for it."
Not down for it.
Like, I'm sorry, I don't really have the capacity at the moment because, but there's somebody else that might want to do it. I'll
Mhm,
drop them a line. But um, yeah, I couldn't go back.
mhm,
So I was able to kind of work with them in a way that worked for me.
mhm.
Um, but then that I think I might have mentioned when we spoke before, that literally dried up overnight. So
Oh,
that
really?
it made up like 60% of my income in my first year, my
Mhm,
work with the council. And after about 18 months, they made an internal decision to stop outsourcing it. And literally 60% of my income gone.
mhm,
And so I kind of got to that point where I was like, this is great. I've got this made, I'm making money. And then they just took it overnight, over half my income was gone,
mhm,
and with no pipeline of that coming back. So I then had to almost start again because I was on 40% of what I was earning before. I only had a handful of clients, and I've got to really work now to replace that.
mhm.
Um, and it was a lot, it was
Hard.
scary, really scary again. When I just kind of found my feet.
Mhm.
Um, And it was one of those things that I always wanted it to end eventually, but on my terms. Like, I wanted to get to a
Yeah.
point where I could be like, "No, thank you. I don't want
Mhm,
any more of these." But they then made the decision for me.
mhm,
So that was terrifying, and that was about 18 months into the my kind of business journey.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, just but luckily by that point I'd had 18 months of working around and getting things, and uh, almost it's that classic, you need to let go of something to let other things in.
Yeah.
And as
Yeah.
soon as I did that, I it wasn't long before before I'd replaced that, and then was actually able to hire my first employee like 2
Mhm.
months later. So, um, yeah, I think it was a horrible time and it was really scary, but I think I needed to let it go. Otherwise, I don't know how
Mhm.
long I would have kept saying, one day I'll
Yeah.
say no."
Yeah. Did it teach you anything about diversifying your client base so that you're not too reliant on one source of income?
Yeah, I think I always knew it. Like, we all know it, don't we? When we see it and we go, "Oh, that's a high risk there. That is a high risk.
Mhm.
A lot of my eggs are in that basket there. That's a high risk. I need to diversify. I need to kind of build my pipeline outside it." And you have it in the back of your head that that's what you need to do, and you try.
Mhm.
But are you really, really trying
Mhm.
until it's gone? Um, and so yeah, I think that did teach me a lot, and it made me kind of go, nothing. I thought I'd have at least another 6 months of that. I thought I had more control of that because when I worked the camp, they'd always outsourced this. They'd been outsourced this for 10 years. So it wasn't the one that, at least, it wasn't the one that I thought would disappear. I was more worried about my other retainers, or what if this person goes? Um, so it wasn't the one I expected,
Mhm.
but actually probably it was the one I needed.
Mhm.
And it really taught me to prioritize where I wanted to spend my time because I hated the work. Didn't enjoy it. I'm good at it. I don't enjoy it. And every
Yeah.
time I'd be like, "Fuck, why am I doing this again? Like, I
Mhm.
hate this." Um, so I think actually removing that straight away, I was like, fantastic.
Mhm.
Actually, I don't have to sit and do 5 days of report writing
Mhm.
I mean, I remember I did a grievance for them. Sorry, I'm going off topic, but I did this grievance for them. And it was uh, the report was 156 pages that I wrote, and it was all about printers. Someone had raised a grievance about printing and printers.
Right.
And historic over years. I mean, this is local government classic, isn't it? Their job was around printers, but there were 200 separate appendices that I had to attach.
Mhm.
156 pages. I interviewed this person for 9 hours in total. Printers. Printers. She was irate about the printing network. I was like, "This has got to be the dullest thing I have ever done. I cannot wait until I am not having to concern myself about printers." I know
Yeah.
a lot about printing networks now that I don't need to know, and I never needed to know, and I don't want to ever use again. Um, but it's just that classic of going, "What is my life?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this?" So when they got rid of that kind of consultancy, that kind of investigating model, and they trained their internal thing, I was like, "Shit." Then I was like, "Oh, thank fuck."
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so I was worried, but actually, again, it was that freeing thing again of, I felt released.
Mhm.
Um, and I could actually just focus on where I wanted to be. I didn't want to be with the large organizations. I wanted to spend my time with the smaller ones. And yeah, it gave me a rocket
Mhm.
again.
So that moves me on quite nicely to kind of who you're working with now. And you say you've got two brands. You've got 6HR and you've got Childcare HR.
Yes.
Just explain the difference of the two brands and who they are working with.
Yeah. Okay. So 6HR is SMEs. I mean, our sweet spot goes up to about 80 employees,
Mhm.
between kind of 10 and 80. Either local, anywhere in the UK, really, but most of them are pocketed around kind of the home counties. They are multiple sectors, multiple kind of disciplines, but it's mainly those that are too small to have their own dedicated HR, or who want a sounding board for their HR.
Yeah.
And we can do anything from like the basic compliance. I'm taking my first employee on. Can I just have a really good contract, and kind of policies all the way through to we've got 3 days a week in one client. So we are their HR department. Um, and then with childcare HR, it's a very similar premise, but specializing in early years childcare providers, wraparound care, holiday clubs, those where there's that additional layer of complexity where you are dealing with employment law and employees in a really difficult market, which is undervalued and underpaid. But then you layer that with safeguarding, um, Ofsted, what you're supposed, how the safety and the safe environment you need to provide for a child and employment law don't always marry up. So we kind
Mhm.
of navigate that with early years and childcare providers to make sure that they're as safe as they can be, because ultimately, if they want to dismiss somebody because they've just done some, from a capability issue, they've created a huge void of safeguarding practice. They're not safe to practice. They can't be there anymore. But employment law says you've got to go through all this process and you've got to give them a chance to try it again. And you've got to give
Mhm.
them, so there's quite often a mismatch in that, and that introduces risk of, whilst yes, everyone in their right mind would agree that that person should be dismissed, but the employment law, you didn't follow the fair process and you didn't dismiss them
Mhm.
fairly. So actually you could still end up losing.
Mhm.
So yeah, so that's the childcare side. So it's a lot more complex, but we manage both within our team, and under the same brand, because essentially HR is HR. What we're doing in childcare HR is adding that extra layer of
Mhm.
kind of knowledge and
Mhm.
expertise that when someone comes to us, we're like, okay, have you called the local authority? Have you notified Ofsted? It's those bits that you wouldn't know unless you have that sector
Mhm.
experience. Um, that Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I know lots of sectors will have that, but
Mhm.
yeah, that's where that specialism is for childcare.
Mhm. What do we, as SMEs, what do we misunderstand about HR? Because I think people can wrap their heads around what HR means in a big organization. There's a department there. They're doing contracts. They're doing some internal comms type
You
stuff.
get
They're
sent to
dealing.
HR when you
Yeah, you get sent there if you're naughty. Maybe they do a little bit of liaising with payroll and whatever.
yeah.
But in an
Yeah.
SME standpoint, what do we not, what do we misunderstand about what HR means?
In an SME setting, I think the misunderstanding is what good HR looks like grows your business.
Mm,
It grows your business. Your team work harder. I think reputationally HR, I mean, there is not, name me a profession that has a worse reputation in a
mhm,
business. There isn't one.
mhm.
We don't have our own names. No one calls us by our name. We are HR. Don't talk about that.
Yeah.
HR are coming. I am not Ella. I am HR, or I am the Grim Reaper, or I'm the Angel of Death, or I am, I have so many hats and none of them are nice.
Mhm,
But actually that's like 10% of what we do. And
mhm,
it's not even our decision. Anything that we've got that bad reputation for, it's not us that have said you've got to do that. That's the
mhm,
manager coming to me saying, I need this to happen. And we say, okay, but are you sure? It's usually us talking them off the ledge.
mhm,
So I think when you're in an SME, or when you haven't worked with good HR, because obviously it's like every profession, there's the good ones and there's the bad ones. You can go, you find me 10 shitty accountants and you can find me 10 great accountants.
mhm,
The same for HR. You've got the good ones out there, you've got the bad ones out there. But good HR, what you're missing is that, what do you want your culture to be? Really?
mhm,
Now we can tell you all the reasons why that's not happening,
mhm,
and then we can now tell you how you get the culture you actually want and how you need to behavior change, and what different things mean, and what your employees are actually thinking when you're making these decisions.
mhm,
And we can help with that retention, with not even, because you don't want you don't want everyone to stay in your organization. You want the good ones to stay. You don't want everyone to stay. So when we talk about retention, it's like, okay, but you don't want everyone there unless they're all fucking brilliant. But what
Uh-huh.
we do is kind of find the strengths in each person. You get your succession plans. We avoid the gaps. We talk about actually there's a missing link here because we aren't in it all the time and when we don't know everything about your job. We can absolutely see the bigger picture and we can see the wood through the trees
Uh-huh.
and be like, yeah, but that's not aligning. The fact that you're saying that you're really inclusive, you're really supportive, but actually all your employees need to be full time and they need to, and you're clock watching from 8:01, they're not at their desk.
Uh-huh.
But you're really flexible, really inclusive, and you want everybody to enjoy coming to work, but they can't work from home and they
Uh-huh.
can't work from anywhere else other than that desk. You're these kind of subtle things of going, okay, but why? Because actually, you've just potentially there's this whole side of workforce, this caring workforce that predominantly mothers
Uh-huh.
that you've just cancelled out. So you're not flexible. You're only
Uh-huh.
flexible if they can work 9 to 5 in your office location and they have to ask permission for X, Y, and Z. So I think for us, it's for HR, for me, I think what people are missing is actually that we can partner with you and challenge you and call you out on your bullshit.
Uh-huh.
And if you don't like it, like when you're internal HR, you're still an employee. I think everyone kind of thinks that you're only there for the employer. Well, shit,
Uh-huh.
hell no, like of course we are. We're being paid by them too.
Uh-huh.
But we're also the ones that constantly having to challenge and going, no, you can't just dismiss them.
Uh-huh.
Or like you've got to be consistent or you've got to put that process in. We're trying to protect the business. That is our job. But also we're trying to grow the business and we're trying to make everyone happy and want to stay and people actually want to come and work there so that when people like see a job being advertised, they don't go, fucking hell,
Uh-huh.
no way am I working there.
Uh-huh.
I've heard they treat their staff awful.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I mean, 10% of the job is for us to go, no, you need to dismiss this guy or being in the room when they dismiss. But I think from an SME perspective, actually, we make things work quicker,
Uh-huh.
make people work harder but happier. And kind of, there's just so much to it
Uh-huh.
that is so much beyond the I've fucked up. Can you help me?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
That people expect HR to do.
Uh-huh. And it's interesting, I guess, as you said, that HR typically works for the employer, for the management team, and
Yeah,
they
we're
are the ones
paid by them too.
paying
Yeah,
you. But HR should also be there for the employees.
100%.
But I guess the interesting question is, how do employees engage with HR, whether it's internal or an external company, when it's not to do with a grievance or something that's upset them or pissed them off? Like, or does that relationship not exist? And does it not need to exist?
It does exist. I think it's very similar to any other department,
Uh,
right? So let's take if you're in a multifunctional, multi-tiered organization, there are some departments you just don't talk to. You know they're there, they have a
uh,
business, they have a purpose, but you don't have a need to talk to them
uh,
unless there's a problem, right? Same with IT. Okay, you wouldn't go to talk to IT. We are a back office function, if you like. We are
uh, uh,
support service, and instead of in the likes of IT, instead of systems, we are the support service for people. So most employees, they would come to IT when there is an issue with their laptop or
yeah.
when something's not working. And it's exactly the same relationship most of the time that they would have with HR and finance. And so we are back office function in that way. But the management and the so when you truly kind of business partner with as a HR kind of role, your most of your time is going to be spent with the management, senior management, and in an influencing role. So
mhm,
you are actually kind of going, right, this is what the data is saying. This is this is what's happening over here. This is what our exit data is telling us. This is how our recruitment data is telling us. It's not, I mean, in some SMEs and in some organizations, HR is also there to complain to about the toilets, the
yeah,
um, I don't know, the someone microwaving fish. Or they think to organize the office party. They think that is HR's role, because I guess it was born from, uh, like that admin, personnel, office manager kind of
mhm,
morph, right? So very much still value HR as they're the ones that get the tea, but where I think most employees, they wouldn't normally, in some organizations for sure, when you're inviting them over, like, actually, we want to talk about employee engagement. We want to talk about how progression planning. And we want your ideas. We want your feedback. But like any other support function, normal run of the mill employees that aren't management, that aren't anything like that, where actually we're going to them saying, how's your team performance? What can we do that's better? How can we help you in a proactive way? They won't need it, just like they don't need
mhm,
IT, and they don't need, if everything's working properly, they don't need you.
mhm, mhm.
But if something isn't working, holy shit, they're there
Yeah,
and they want your help until
mhm,
you can't give them the answer they want, and then they hate you for it, and it's HR's fault.
mhm,
And that's the kind of the difficult line
yeah. And then
with.
I guess this leads back into psychological safety as well.
Mm.
I know a lot of people close to me that work in big corporates, and you talk about work and things. Most of them would never go to HR because of fear of their manager finding out. And they might be in a company of
Yep.
500 or 1,000
Yeah.
plus people. You should be able to hide a little bit.
Yeah.
When you get into SME land, if there's 20 of you,
Yeah.
it's potentially easier to work out who's complaining and who's not. And I feel like the fear is probably even more heightened in that environment. How do we, how do you get employees of smaller businesses feeling comfortable going to HR if they've got an issue? Or should they actually go to their manager first?
Essentially,
Like,
yeah.
how do we play with that?
I mean, HR, we're not agony aunts. We're not there to wrap people around the knuckles. We're there to
No.
signpost and to support and coach and kind of guide them to the right
Mm,
place. So yeah, we were like, have you discussed this with your manager first? I mean, ultimately, the decision, if you're going to HR, you're not normally going there lightly.
no.
But you should be. If you have psychological safety, you should be. HR's role is to set all of that up. So actually, you feel comfortable talking to your manager. And if you don't feel comfortable talking to your manager, why are you not feeling comfortable talking to your manager? What's going on there?
Mhm, mhm,
And if you're So that's really our role. So if someone's coming to me before they've spoken to their manager and say, "Oh, I don't feel like I can," that's actually more interesting to me than the issue.
mm,
Because I can guarantee you, if they went to their manager and they felt they could go to their manager and their manager was effective at supporting them, they wouldn't have needed to come to me in the first place. It would never have got to me, and they
mm,
wouldn't be as upset or as tense or as stressed as they are now if that safety and trust was there.
mm,
So I think where, but with, so HR really is about, as part of that process is about actually making sure that the managers and the support team, the psychological safety is there, and looking at all the details of how psychological safety and all the other things are built
mhm,
to go, you don't know that we've just done all of that. You don't know that actually we've been part of that. And the managers will be like, yeah, I'm just a good manager. But
mm,
actually, what they've had is a shitload of time from HR or from mentors or from support that's been built into that organization to help them be good managers. They've got the tools there. They've got the support. The manager should be coming to us and going,
mm,
I've got this issue with my employee. I really want to help them. How
mhm,
can I do that? That
mhm,
that's the relationship we should be having.
mm,
People shouldn't be running to HR, or managers shouldn't be running to HR. And they certainly shouldn't be going back to their team and saying, HR said, because it's
yeah,
not us. They've come to us with the problem.
yeah,
Like, it's always, we're the best scapegoat. Like,
yeah,
oh, I'm doing this because HR told me to.
yeah,
Bullshit. No, we've told you how to say it. We haven't told you the message. 9 times out of 10, it's not us driving anything.
mm,
We are the people that make it happen safely and in the best
mm,
way to stop pissing off as many employees as possible. And so that your culture doesn't go to die. You don't get a
mm,
load of revolt and grievances coming in on the back of it. For us, we're thinking 5 steps ahead. It wasn't our decision.
mm,
I mean, where it's compliant, sure, it's going to be our decision. Though it's quite often that I have to go, I'm really sorry, but you've been doing this incorrectly, and it's actually unlawful. So we're going to need to do this so that you don't end up with a big old fine
mm,
and going out of business because you've just illegally been doing this for however long. Sure, that's my message,
mm,
but it's not my decision. They still
mm,
have a choice. Do they
mm,
do they then make that legally compliant,
mm,
or do they carry on doing what they were doing with the knowledge they're legally and kind of non-compliant? So it's never HR.
mm,
Very rare that
mm.
it's us. So when a manager, if it's the first thing I do, HR said, or I'm going to go and check with HR and they'll tell me what to do. But it's not. We're not the bad guys. It's easy for us to be.
Yeah.
It's very easy for us to be, and I've got very thick skin now. But yeah, it's not.
Mm. I was gonna say, like, do you feel having been in HR for quite a long time and I guess being in an environment where you do have to be somewhat combative sometimes and you are the purveyor of bad news sometimes and you're dealing with a lot of emotion.
Mm.
Do you feel like that makes you a better entrepreneur? You just said you've got thicker skin now, and entrepreneurs need thick skin. You
Yeah.
have to be able to deal with unhappy clients, people you're prospecting saying, no, bugger off, I'm not interested. Like, do you feel like it makes you a strong entrepreneur?
I guess so. I mean, I don't deal with confrontation well. I don't deal with rejection well. I don't
Mm,
deal with the thought of people not liking me well. That's my own kind of ADHD sensitivity trait. So if someone says, "Can I have 5 minutes?" If you've got 5 minutes to talk, I immediately think they're unhappy with me, right?
mhm,
I guess where I think being in HR has helped me on my entrepreneur journey is that I analyze and I think about the step after the step.
mhm,
And I think about human behavior a lot and the strategy of how I'm going to approach something for my best outcome. Um, and like I couldn't tell you if someone's upset with me or I get a troll on LinkedIn and they disagree with what I'm saying, right?
yeah.
It hurt. It still cuts. I have
Mhm,
not figured that out. I've had people throw themselves at me, pin me up against walls, follow me home because I've dismissed them in the corporate world, like awful stuff. I'm no harder to that. I'm
mm,
no but I guess I probably find it easier to I always have my moment. I always kind of say, "Look, go have your moment. I'm gonna go cry. I'm gonna go and catastrophize for 10 minutes. Let me have my minute, and then I'm gonna come back stronger because I know that we'll get that back on track."
mhm,
And yeah, I think it makes it maybe I don't give up. I'm
mhm,
quite optimistic about that, and maybe that's got something to do with kind of the difficult conversations that we're having to have a lot.
mm,
Um, I guess I spend more time thinking about how things are going to be received,
mhm.
um, from a human behavior point of view.
Yeah.
That's essentially our superpower.
Mhm,
Good HR is just being able to go, okay, what is this? Analyzing somebody and be like, what kind of person are you? As to how do I approach this with you to get the best outcome for everybody?
mhm,
Are you money motivated? Do you need your ego stroked?
Mhm.
Are you actually, you need the detail? We'll delve in, or actually, is that going to completely cloud you? Are you going to be somebody that just needs to know money?
Mhm.
Understanding people helps being
Yeah.
an entrepreneur,
I
I
think
think.
that just makes a good leader in general, don't you? You can't just look at your team
Mm.
as here's 10 people and this is their job title. You do really have to understand the nuances of, yes, what they're motivated by, but also how do they like to work, where and when and how do
Yeah,
they work best?
yeah,
How do they like to be asked for ideas? Because some people really don't want to be picked upon in a meeting for their ideas.
mm,
Maybe they're more comfortable
yeah,
doing it one to one with you or with another member of the team. So I think that
yeah.
just comes down to good leadership, doesn't it? And
I think
being
so.
a caring leader, I suppose.
I think it's that empathy, isn't it? Is that it's understanding, and yeah, I think so. I think it's that. I think it is the leadership piece, perhaps. I don't know if I'm ever going to be strong enough to say I'm a good leader. I know what good leadership looks like, uh, and that's what I try and share with the kind of owners and founders that I work with. Of just,
Mm,
um, and you have people that are naturally great at it, and you have people that
mhm,
really need to work on it and work
mhm,
continuously on it.
mhm.
And I prefer working with those people,
Yeah.
the ones that actually know that they need to work on it, and they are, um, kind of consciously working on it, because you have great conversations behind closed doors.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, of course.
It's great. Just going, "Yeah, I know that's what you think.
Yeah,
This is what we're gonna do."
yeah, yeah.
You know that, yeah, not gonna do that though. Under no circumstances are you going to send that email. Like, "Okay, fine." I prefer working with them. They're fun.
How are you managing HR within your team? Because you're a team of five, six people?
We're 4 at the
Four.
moment. Yeah.
Like,
Uh,
I'm assuming you're doing it yourselves. I'm assuming you don't then have another HR company doing your HR.
no, although we did get one of the large HR, ones call us the other day asking how we were getting on with our HR when I told them we were a HR consultancy. I was like, "We're okay." Um, you know, I am not I'm not, I should probably tell you we've got all our shit together, shouldn't I? I mean, we have thousands of policies. Do we have our own set? Uh, sure, I could probably pull it together in about 2 minutes. It's We've evolved, and we are just like any other business owner and
Mhm,
any other small business that has kind of gone creaked. Oh, we'll develop that when we need it. We'll develop that when we need it. I've I'm very lucky, and my team are glorious.
mhm.
And the culture that I have created is not formalized. We have a HR system. We're not big enough to really need to use it. Um,
Yeah.
we talk every day. For us, it's about informal, intentional kind of conversations.
Yeah.
We all have equal. The way that I've set up my culture and my HR is that there is no hierarchy.
Mhm.
We all, yes, ultimately I'm accountable, but there's no hierarchy in the sense of, you must go to me for this. Everything must come through me. Everyone has their own kind of autonomy and their ownership. We all have equal roles.
Mhm.
We just do different things. Um, and yeah, so I mean, we have processes, but they're all very informal. I wouldn't expect anyone with 4 employees to have much of anything,
Mhm.
other than just figuring it out as they go. But
Mhm.
from a HR perspective and our own shit together, we have contracts, we have policies,
Mhm.
we have the basics, and we have quarterly strategic meetings, we have weekly meetings, we have team meetings, and we have kind of one-to-ones every week. And so from a structure point of view, that's how it will continue to grow, and foundations are in there. Um, but yeah, I'm not going to sit there and say I've got a separate HR strategy, and uh, I don't do engagement surveys, and so there's no point.
No.
We're
Too
just not
small.
that size.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do all right.
And are you remote? Is the team remote?
Yes. Yeah, so I've got one based in Wales,
Mhm.
one currently in Barcelona.
Nice.
She's just moved out there, so she'll be dropping off doing her own thing and stuff soon, but she's over in Barcelona at the moment, but was kind of a good hour away. We're all about an hour away from each other, and one is more local to me.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we work fully remote, from our homes or from our clients'
Mhm.
offices.
What's your view on remote teams and kind of working together and keeping that culture? Because there is a trend amongst the bigger companies of this big sort of return to the office.
Yeah.
But with AI and with the such fast-paced advancements in technology,
Yeah.
it is so easy to start a business and have either on your own or have a small team of 5 or 10 people doing actually millions of pounds
Mhm.
in business, depending on what you do. And a lot of these businesses are remote. They've got team members all over the world. And I guess I'm just curious what your thoughts are in terms of culture and running a team remotely, because it almost does feel like the big businesses are kind of going back to the way things were.
Yeah.
There's a handful of small businesses that want an office, or they're just in that industry where you kind of do need to be
Yeah.
physically together. And then there's this like weird wild west of like, do whatever the fuck you want. Doesn't matter. If you're a digital business, whether that's HR services, video production, crypto, whatever it might
Yeah. Yeah.
be, you can have anyone anywhere, really.
Yeah. I mean, whatever the decision needs that any business takes, it just needs to be intentional.
Mm,
I think if so for us, we work remotely, but we will meet up once a quarter
mm,
for intentional time. There is nothing worse than going to a hybrid model, going to a meeting in your office to be on fucking Zoom.
yeah.
Nothing worse than being in a lonely room going, what is the bloody point in me being here?
Hmm.
I've just spent X on commute. I've added X to my day. My children are in an after school club and breakfast club. I'm not going to get home until whenever. I've got a crappy sandwich meal deal. For what?
Hmm.
There is nothing that's going to kill your morale faster than that.
Hmm.
So I think each their own. Like every
Yeah.
business will have a different reason for doing what they're doing. There is a lot around the large organization bringing people back after COVID. And I do think a lot of it is trust. If you don't have trust and you're
Hmm.
not output focused, then you are going to struggle to have your teams remote
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
hybrid because you will strongly believe that if they are not at home, they are not working as hard.
Hmm.
And there
Hmm.
are some people like that. But
Yeah.
there is also people that go into the office and don't work as hard because now they've got all the distractions of everybody else. I am one of those people.
Yeah, me too.
If I
I
go
think
into
I'm the
the office,
distraction.
yeah, I'm terrible. If I see someone opposite me, I will chat. Like we've done a
Yeah.
few co-working sessions, me and the team remotely, so we'll just dial in. I don't get any fucking work done.
No, no.
I'm talking constantly, or one of them's talking to me and I can't multitask. So I was
Hmm.
like, guys, I just can't turn up to these because I just
Hmm.
spend the whole time talking about personal rubbish
Hmm.
and I've just lost 2 hours.
Hmm.
I the water cooler chats, like, yes,
Yeah.
they help build culture and they help. I'm a big believer in that and bringing people together. I do think there is a place that you should bring your team together
Hmm.
for other than work tasks to
Yeah.
build a good team and build a good culture. But that just needs to be intentional. Don't do it as an arbitrary, you've got to be in the office 2 days a week, but everyone's
Yeah.
office days are different. So you're never actually going to see anyone when you're there.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
bullshit. No,
Hmm.
like, it's just it's just what's the point? And that also, I think from COVID, the whole motherhood kind of penalty thing, how many doors COVID opened for
Yeah.
a huge portion of the population that could now work,
Hmm.
that couldn't work before, that are now contributing
Hmm.
to the economy, to blah, 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 to
Hmm.
then go back on that and go, I know you were doing all right, but actually we don't think, but we want you back so you can sit in a
Yeah.
room on your own.
Hmm.
But now you can't actually work for us anymore because you can't get your childcare to match and you
Yeah.
can't go and do the school run or you can't. um, the nurseries aren't open that period of time, or actually you're going to commute and your childcare costs now are going to outweigh your salary. Soz.
Mm, mm,
But we need you in 2 days a week.
yeah.
We need you in full time. You're cutting so many of that workforce out, mums and dads that have relied on the hybrid or on the home work from home model, and they do really good work.
Mm,
And I think if it's not intentional and there's no real reason why they need to be there,
mm,
then I just think it's bullshit.
yeah. I think a lot of it's just down to money. They've got huge leases. They're paying so much money per month on, especially if they're in London or
Then
Manchester or
they can't sell the shit anymore either. Like,
no,
even if they don't lease it and they own it outright, they can't sell it.
no,
No one wants
no,
to buy it
no.
because 'cause they've got the same issue. So
Yeah.
there is that, there's a huge overhead, and but
Mm,
at least then if you're gonna do it, put don't I don't know, it just needs to
yeah,
be
I don't know.
intentional, whether that be actually if you've gotta come in 3 days a week, all of this team are gonna come in 3 days a week,
Yeah.
or that team are gonna come in on these days, so
Mm.
that at least then you're with your team and it can be intentional.
See, this is where I feel like co-working spaces are really great. And
Yeah,
there's so many cool ones that seem to be popping up in
yeah.
London. I've had my VA looking at some recently because I want to go and spend more time in London and sort of expand there and meet new people.
Mm,
And like, there's so many cool ones that I don't think existed 5 years ago, or certainly not before COVID. And that feels like a great opportunity to get together, like you do on a
yeah,
quarterly basis, but also kind of mix it up a little bit. You can go to a different environment
yeah,
each time you meet up and experience something as opposed that has a bit more of a vibe and a bit more
yeah.
of a thing to do as opposed to just turn up to your big open plan, white walled office on the seventh floor.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
rows and rows and rows
With
of
just rows of desks that are empty because no one else is there.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I love them. I think they look great, and it is something that we're looking at. 'Cause we did a corporate shoot a few months ago, and I was
Mm,
looking at those spaces like, "These are awesome.
yeah.
They're
Yeah.
so nice." Um, and yeah, 'cause I always toy with, do we want an office location or not?
Mm,
It kind of feels like the next step. Should we have an office location? And
mm,
essentially, it would be useful occasionally when people wanna come and meet us on
yeah.
site, but then I'm like, "Ugh, but I could just go to them, or we could just hire something or go to a co-working space or
Yeah, exactly.
meet at a hotel cafe," it just outweighs it each time,
And I
and
feel like then you've got, if you don't have the monthly cost, you've got more money that you can spend on that cool space, the lunch, the dinner, the
yeah,
other activities that you can do for that day
yeah,
or two.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
or on our own development and
Yeah.
sending my
Yeah.
team, and we'll go on a really cool 2-day workshop, and event, or because we
Yeah.
can.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to talk about motherhood
Mhm.
and children
Mm.
because I know it's a very big part of what you do, why you do things.
Yes.
And one thing that I just wanted to talk about briefly that you mentioned to me when we spoke before was, and I can't remember whether it was your first, second, or third child, but you mentioned to me that you didn't want to necessarily be a stay at home mum. Like you needed work, you needed to go back to work.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a very brave conversation that lots of women maybe have, but also maybe don't feel comfortable having, which is everyone else is talking about you have to be at home with your child for that 9 to 12 months at the
Yeah.
beginning. But there are lots of women who are very career driven or who want to be around other adults,
Yeah.
not as quickly as possible, but soon after.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if you could just talk a little bit about that and about
Yeah.
where you were kind of coming from.
Yeah. So for me, I love my children dearly, obviously, and but I I do struggle with um my identity being mum and only mum,
Mm,
and having kind of that early, I think just before we started, I kind of said, I love the 0 to 1. I could do it over and over again. But also, I couldn't do it if I wasn't working.
Mhm.
Like, it's such a lonely, hard thing to do to be a mum. And it doesn't matter how many people are around you, you will feel alone.
Yeah.
And when you go anywhere, you kind of I remember doing my first, and I had postnatal depression with my first. My husband at the time was in the military, and he had gone back to base. We weren't living together, and it was just me and this baby. Who my first one, I was 25, and she was horrific. In that, like, she screamed day through the day, through the night. She had colic, she had everything, and all I was doing was just being thrown up on, screamed at, and everywhere I went, I was trying to do all the new mum experience. I was trying to go to the baby clubs and blah, blah, blah. Everywhere I went, I was referred to as her mum.
Yeah.
"Oh, how's mum doing? How's the" and it's the same thing of, like, HR. "Oh, here's HR." Like, you are mum.
Mhm.
Your role in life is to raise this baby, and this baby, you are its property almost.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and I totally accept that, and I totally understand that, and it's the most important role in the world, right? Being a parent. If you are a parent and you have children, that is your priority. If you have children, okay, and there's a whole load of reasons why people do and don't and whatever, and I we're not going there today. But if you have a child, they are your priority.
Yeah.
And but I lost myself. As
Mhm.
like so many mums do, you lose yourself. And I needed a bit of me and my identity to remain. Um, and a career was always a strong thing for me. So my first baby, I think I started doing my first kind of keep in touch day. So you get 10 of those while on maternity leave. My first keep in touch day was after she was 5 weeks old. And then I went in one day a month after that, and I went back after 8 months,
Mhm.
partly because I needed it, partly financially. I've
Mhm.
always been the breadwinner in in any relationship, so I always needed it financially. And I always kind of every pregnancy I went, "Oh, I'll take a bit longer this time. I'm gonna really enjoy it this time." And every time I've gone back a little bit sooner
Mhm.
than I did the time before. I need it for me, for my identity, for my purpose. When you are a mum, you spend most of your time wondering what you're doing wrong and that you're
Mhm.
not doing enough, and you've got mum guilt just and that's never gonna go away. You have mum guilt if you're at home, you have a mum guilt if you're at work, you have a mum guilt you have work guilt. If you're at home with your baby, you worry about work. If you're at work, you worry about that you're not there for your baby. You're not gonna win. But I know I am a better parent and a better mum if I have my work.
Mhm.
'Cause I'm more driven, I'm doing it for them, I have purpose.
Mhm.
I'm good at what I do,
Mhm.
and I think when you feel that and you are proud of what you do and you do a good job, that pride and that confidence then seeps into your family life, and as a
Mhm.
mum, I'm like, I'm teaching them, not that work is the most important thing, but that if you work hard, you get nice things.
Mhm.
And if you work and that work ethic, I think, is so important for children to learn
Mhm.
and learn young. And I think
Mhm.
most people that I know, I think a lot of entrepreneurs, to be honest, and just people that have done really well, both in life and kind of work, they're the ones that had the paper round at 13. Or they started their first job cash in hand doing something. They were
Mhm.
grafting young. And there's always going to be exceptions to the rule, but that's kind of my experience of the people that I really respect and admire and have a great look like with their shit together. They they have that drive, they have that work
Mhm.
ethic, and that normally comes from I just did whatever I could to earn myself some money, and it was
Mhm.
when I was young. They didn't wait until they'd finished college and they'd finished uni and to try and start finding their first job. They'd start
mhm,
building their CV from 11. Do you know what I mean?
mm,
Like,
mhm,
my first job was 13 as a dishwasher, cash in
mhm.
hand. And then by the time I was at college, I had 3 jobs and I was at college. Like,
Yeah.
I've just always worked. It's
Mhm,
me. So,
mhm,
yeah, I think I am a mum, but I'm also a badass boss bitch, I guess.
mhm, mhm.
In a nice way, I hope.
But I feel like that's a narrative that is coming across in a positive way on social media as well.
Okay, yeah,
I feel like there is not necessarily the words boss bitch, although I have seen that be thrown around a lot on social media.
yeah,
Certainly with Sophia Amoruso when she had her like nasty gal thing, that was a bit of a brand that she brought together. But I do see because I pay attention to a lot of business, entrepreneurial, creator type content.
mm,
And there does seem to be a massive influx of female entrepreneurs and business owners coming
yeah,
through and leading with such, I don't know, just such confidence, which is really
mm.
nice to see.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I'm still new in this space, so I probably don't see it as much. I say I'm new, kind of 3 years in, but I there's so many strong, powerful women I really admire
Mhm,
that just look like they're having the best time. And it is
mhm,
that, it's that confidence, it's that boldness.
mhm,
I I love it. I'm here for it.
mm,
I wish I had an ounce of kind of that that just yeah, I wanna be like that, like, just
mhm,
loving it, but they do it with care.
mhm.
Like, they're leading with care, with confidence. They don't have to throw people under the bus. They don't have to be like there is that kind of thing of women historically, if they wanna get to the top, they've gotta be arseholes, right?
Mm,
They've got to be ruthless, and
mm,
we're all those terrible words. If a man is like that, then they're strong, they're,
mm.
like, commanding, but if a woman does it, they're bossy,
Yeah,
they're a bitch, they whatever. They're who are they screwing, you know?
yeah,
Go into sexism in
yeah, yeah.
but that I think that was always, like, my step like, just anybody in my life, if I saw a strong woman, I was terrified by them.
Mm,
Terrified because
mm,
they had to be mean.
mhm.
Whereas now I think I see so many more female leaders that are leading with their strength,
Yeah,
which is their care, their compassion, their empathy, their confidence, and they're unapologetic with it.
mhm,
They don't have to be cruel to get to the top. They don't have to step on anybody. That's really nice. It's really
mm.
nice to see. Um, yeah.
It's the whole, like there's that age-old phrase of nice people. Well, it's nice guys finish last, but we can change it
Yes.
to nice people finish last. But actually, I think it's nice people finish first. It might
Yeah.
take a little bit longer,
Yeah.
but you're gonna be more respected and more well-liked if you're just a genuinely nice person to
Yeah.
be around.
And I think as well, kind of from a work perspective, it's changed. What people look for in leaders has changed
Yeah.
generally. So
Mm,
actually, if you are that nice person, if you are that charismatic person, if you are, you might not be the best at your job, but you're really good at bringing people together.
mhm,
You're more likely to become that leader than 10
mhm.
years ago when actually you were really good at what you did. So you were promoted to manage everybody else that does what they do. And now you don't do it anymore and you're shit at that.
Yeah.
I think there has been a shift that instead of because they're the best at what they do, they're now gonna manage everybody else
Mhm,
doing it, but they don't have any management skills. I think that has shifted to actually I hope it's shifted or it's shifting
mhm.
anyway, where you go, you don't have to be the best at what you do, but actually if you're really good at people management, if you're really
Yeah.
good at noticing people
Mhm,
and what they bring to the table and lifting people up, they are hopefully getting promoted faster and getting into those
mhm,
leadership positions quicker. Um, because that's essentially you don't need to know everything to be a
mhm,
leader. You just
mhm,
need to know who to know
mhm,
and where your skill starts and stops, and when somebody else needs to take that lead and be okay and being humble with that and
mhm,
being like, I don't have all the answers, but I can pull a team together that do.
mhm, mhm.
That's that's leadership, in my opinion.
Yeah. Do you think is the kind of career system, corporate system, however you want to describe it, is there this assumption that it's still stacked slightly against women, and in particular women who do have children? Because I noticed I was going through your LinkedIn and I noticed that you were like on the advice line for a charity. I think it was
Pregnant and
called
screwed.
Pregnancy and Screwed,
Pregnant and screwed, yeah.
which I didn't delve into it for too long, but it looked like it was
Wonderful charity.
to help women navigate the career with child or whilst pregnant.
Mm.
Like,
Yes.
is
So
the system still
Pregnant and Screwed is a wonderful charity that support women and parents, but predominantly women who are experiencing the motherhood penalty in some way,
Mm,
whether that be they are experiencing discrimination in the workplace because they decided to have a child. They're going through a rough patch. They were the top performing employee. They went through a miscarriage, and now suddenly they're being performance managed
mhm,
because, oh, look, it looks like she might want to have children. She's no longer ideal anymore. All of that stuff. And it's a wonderful charity. And they lobby for a lot for women's rights and work rights. But yeah, there is absolutely 100% still a massive gap when you will look at a woman. There's because it's unconscious bias.
yeah,
We all have it, right?
yeah,
You see me, you would estimate my age. You would estimate if you didn't know me at all. I went in for an interview, and I you would look at me and you'd be like, right, okay, well, I think because that's what we do as human nature. I think she's probably, I don't know. I'm going to be kind to myself here. Early 30s to 40s. She might have a husband. Has she got a ring on? She got a husband. Should I ask about children? She's
mhm,
probably got children. If she's not got children, probably planning on having children. And if
mhm,
she has got children, how old are they? Because if they're at
yeah,
primary school, it's gonna be a nightmare. Like, they're gonna be sick
mhm,
a lot. She's gonna have to be at
mhm,
home because it can't for 1 second, that that bias isn't gonna tell you that that the husband in that situation is going to be the caregiver.
mhm,
It's like when someone says that it was like a riddle, um, around doctors and parents, uh, going to see a child that was sick. And the riddle essentially, I can't even remember it now, so I'm gonna absolutely bodge this, but essentially it was like, how can it be that who's the doctor's relationship or something? It basically makes assumptions that in our internal bias, we all believe that doctor is a man.
yeah,
We
yeah,
all believe when when we think of a job role or we think of a person, you also assign a gender to that.
yeah,
In your head, draw me a leader of a
mhm,
bank.
mhm,
It's a man.
mhm,
Draw me a nursery worker. It's a woman.
mhm,
The
mhm, mhm,
caregiving role. It's we have those bias. So if I go into a workplace, they're going to assume certain things about me.
yeah,
It's human nature. When you put yourself forward for something as a woman who has children, you know you are slightly stacked if you have younger children or that
mhm,
you are planning on having children, because they will more likely hire the man. They are going to, in your head, no matter what training they are given, in their head, they are going to be more reliable.
mhm,
But actually, I know I would do that job 10 times better than that person. But
mhm,
I might need the occasional day off to look after my children who are throwing up.
yeah,
But also, I do have a partner that could do that, or I have a support network that could do that. They don't know that.
mhm,
Um, and we're an inconvenience.
mhm,
And
mhm,
it is an inconvenience. Of course it is. If someone calls in sick or they have to look after their child, it's an inconvenience. But it doesn't I have never met a part-time someone that works part-time. I've n They work so bloody hard
mhm,
because they're trying to show their worth more. A mum who works, they are an absolute force.
mm,
Like, working mothers get shit done.
mm, mm,
They have to, because they've already navigated a full working day before they got to work
yeah,
with their children. They've
yeah,
already done all this stuff, and I never understood it until I had children. I
mm,
had to I was like, I open apology to all mothers that I thought you were rubbish or that you didn't have your shit together before I became a mum, because
mm,
my God, they go through a lot before they even start work.
mm,
And that's even if they've had a night's sleep.
yeah,
But they just have incredible ability to multitask, to negotiate.
mhm.
Negotiating with a 2-year-old, I can tell you now, then go and see Dave from finance. He's going to be a bloody breeze compared to your 2-year-old you just navigated a tantrum with because they didn't
Yeah,
want to put their shoes on.
yeah, yeah,
So it's just the skill sets that they come with that you learn as a mum. They resonate so much at work
mm,
that if you give them the opportunity to use them without then also having to navigate the fact that a child's about to run into the road, or they're running with a bead stuck up their nose, or they've got a
mhm,
pair of scissors, like, where there's not actually physical risk around you.
mhm,
Like, they can do so much, and they do so
mm,
much with so little. They're so resourceful.
mm,
So, yeah, I think they're underestimated, and but I don't think it's intentional all the time.
yeah.
And I think that's my point, is that so much is just unconscious bias of our entire lives and generations of women being in a certain role. It's
Yeah, I
just
mean,
unconscious.
the whole, like, visualize this job role thing is really interesting because when AI image generation started to get better and better,
Mm.
if you asked AI to create an image of a doctor,
Yes.
a business leader, whatever, or a nurse, it would assign a female to the role of nurse. It would assign a male to um, a business leader or a
Doctor.
doctor
Yeah.
because it's been
Yeah.
trained on
Yeah.
outdated information.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. But it's exactly what we think of. And I've delivered like unconscious bias training. I've
yeah.
delivered all this stuff, but I would still sit there and be like, I'm going to imagine if you told me, the first thing that would pop into my head would be a man. Now I've trained myself to then go, I'm not listening to that.
Mm,
And I need to actually think of an alternative. But your first instinct is to draw conclusions of people. That
mm,
is human nature. That's not. It's a shame, and I think hopefully we'll get there where that bias isn't there. But
mm,
essentially, what is that going to do? You can't think of two people. You're always going to
mm,
think of, if I say think of a doctor, you're going to think of one person. It's going to be male or it's going to be female.
mm,
The
mm, mm,
50-50 chance. Just at the minute, male is stacked that most people will think it's a male.
yeah.
And it'd be lovely to get to the point where actually you ask 10 people to do it, and half of them put a man and half of them put a
Mm,
woman, and that it's not actually the woman that's thinking of the woman and a man that's thinking of a man.
mm,
That would be wonderful.
mm,
How long will get till we it will be until we get there? I don't know. I hope we do,
mm.
but we've got to keep the work up, and I certainly think it's going to be quite a few generations before there is that actual equality of
Mm,
thought as well as um,
mm,
actual effort.
mm. And is this where Childcare HR came in to the picture as well? What was your it feels like this was a strong driving force behind starting up that
Yeah,
sub-brand, second brand.
yeah. Childcare HR, I started because I have a huge respect for what they do with my children,
Mm,
and how what they do for so many children, and the lack of resource and support that they have from government, from parents, where they kind of, I mean, childcare costs is like the most contentious thing,
mhm,
but you wouldn't. Like, and it has risen. Of course it's risen because the government are putting the rates up of everything, and they've got to pay the staff to deliver it, and
Mm,
they have to deliver it within a set so much of a framework. But yeah, I mean, I started Childcare HR because I just had such a massive respect for the sector. They have done an I went through different types of childcare with my children. I've had nurseries, I've had childminders, I've had preschools, and then now primary school. And they do so much with so little. And the staff have always just been absolute dreams. My children have just had the best time. And they've had experiences that I never would have been able to give them myself.
mm,
And I know mentally I can't kind of do that and nurture my children the way that they've been nurtured in these places and set up for that success. And they get so little in return. And I think the workforce is underappreciated, it's undervalued, and
mhm,
it's underpaid. And it's underpaid because the government has now put in kind of restrictions into terms of what they can and can't offer, and free childcare, and there's only so much that people can afford to pay for their childcare. Um, so then the staffing rates stay low. Um, and it's underfunded. I mean, it's horrid. So yeah, I spoke to a couple early on in my journey, a couple of nurseries just from where my children have been there, or at childminders, and they said, "Oh, we've got a contract with so and so," and it'd be a large kind of consultancy, and it really was their legal. It was insurance. It's an insurance policy, and I was like, "There's no way to do HR as an insurance policy. You call when something goes wrong, they make you jump through 10 loads of hoops, and you still can't dismiss somebody.
mhm,
They're not effective, and they haven't even asked you X, Y, and Z, and you're locked into this for 7 years, and it's just shit for you. You don't know and I was like, that's no way to actually solve the problem. The retention, the recruitment, the training, the profit make it to be able to increase those salaries. There's no way to be able to do that
mhm,
because that's not HR. You're not doing HR. You've got an insurance policy. Um, and yeah, so I kind of went, okay, what can I do with this then? I've got some experience in safeguarding and working with local authority kind of safeguarding teams and education. So I know a bit.
mhm,
My children have been through different practices. So let's give this a go. And that's where it was born.
mhm.
And
And
my
how would
son,
you say it's going?
it's hard.
Yeah.
Childcare, the sector is hard for all those reasons I just outlined,
Mhm,
in that they are underfunded. They, if they're run well by business owners, they are profitable and they can afford good quality HR. But where they are not run by business owners, they are kind of taken over as uh, they've always been an early years practitioner and they decide to take over the nursery from the person that's retiring, or they want to go and do their own thing and they don't have that business savvy brain, or
mhm,
they get sucked into the day to day because they actually need to run that nursery and they need to be in ratio and they need to look after the children. So many of those don't turn a profit because they don't understand all of it.
mhm.
And so they want something as cheap as possible and they will only deal with what's on fire.
Yeah.
And for us, we want a relationship where they call us before there's a fire. We have a like proactive relationship that they call us to say hi. But
Mm,
also that it's just like, actually, we're a partner with them. What's going on with so and so now? What's your plans for the next 12 months? Where's your problem area? Why have you got this issue again? What's going on deeper that you're never going to get anywhere else?
mm,
But where you've always been in childcare, you've always been at a one nursery that's got 10 employees, you've never seen HR. You've never seen what HR can do. You've got the
mhm,
same fear that everybody else has about HR as they come in and fire you. and they show
Yeah.
no value. They're here for whatever, and they're just going to cost money and cause problems and tell us to change everything. So, unless you really have an understanding of what good HR looks like, which more SME businesses do than childcare businesses do, and I'm not saying that all of them, and unless you have some money to invest in it and see the benefit of investing in it, will actually eventually it will turn you in a more profit making state if you embrace it.
Mm,
Actually making people believe that
mm,
and put their money where their mouth is, where the things are so tight, is it's really hard. It's
mm,
really hard. But the ones that we do work with, like, they're brilliant. Like,
mm,
some of them are really hard work, obviously, because they've never had HR before and they've gone so long without good HR that we're unpicking 15 years worth of bad practice.
mhm,
Um, Others just they have so much care and they are so grateful and they're like sponges, which is great. We don't have really any that have left because we're too expensive or because they don't see any value in it. Um, it's just getting them to take that leap in the first place.
mm.
But it's hard, and I never intended on having 2 brands. I always thought it would just be childcare HR, because I started with Ella Halliday HR, and it was just me because I was just gonna go and do my little dream projects, and childcare HR was like light bulb moment. I'm specializing in childcare. There's only 2 others that are in this sector that actually specialize in this, like HR consultants. There's bloody millions of them. There's one
Yeah.
thing absolutely going to guarantee you get viral on LinkedIn, and that is asking for a recommendation for a HR consultant. If you ask
Yeah.
for a recommendation for a HR consultant on LinkedIn, holy shit, your impressions will go through the roof. You will have thousands of reactions, likes, comments, messages, calls. You will be stalked. Like, there are so many of us.
Mhm,
And they're like sharks. And some are better than others. And we're a great community and we share. There's plenty of work. But there were 2 other competitors that specialized in childcare
mm,
in the UK. Like,
mhm,
no bloody brainer. I thought I had cracked it. I was gonna fly, this was gonna be multi-million pounds, and I I mean, it's been really hard, and so I had to keep Ella Halliday HR going, and then in the end, I just embraced it and went, "Right, fuck it, we're going for 6 HR, we're rebranding it, we're having 2 brands, it's gonna go like this," because neither one, well, 6 HR could stand on its own, but childcare HR is my baby.
mhm,
It's my passion project, and I'm not letting it go. So 6HR is really propping it up, but I haven't given up yet. And I don't want to because I do love it. And every time we support with a really difficult issue, like, we all get energized again and we love it.
mm.
But it isn't for the faint of heart.
And are they on retainers or are they paying more like on a per project kind of basis? But
Both. So a lot of the time they'll come because they've had no shit. Something's on fire
mm,
and they'll want us to put that out, and we might do that on a pay-as-you-go basis. And then afterwards, they realise that actually there's a load of processes that need sorting and maybe they should go on retained. And some do. Um, Others, the ones that really know that what good HR looks like, they'll come for retained straight away.
yeah.
We have a couple that are like, "I'm opening a nursery in September. I want good HR from day one." You're like, "Dreamy. Great. We're
Mhm,
gonna get on really well because we can start this really intentionally." Um, it really depends, but most have come to me and come to the team on a reactive basis first, pay as you go.
yeah.
And then they don't want to let it go and they see how much money can be saved by being on a retainer over being
Mm,
reactive.
mm.
Once I get a couple of big invoices, they're like, "Oh, okay, maybe we should go on a retained contract." Because it is more expensive to sort things out after the
Yeah,
fact.
yeah.
It's so much more expensive.
Can you make the same money on a childcare retainer contract as you can on a normal SME contract? Like, does the business work the same for you?
Yeah, it's taken me a couple of years,
Mm,
but I've got a lot more intentional with it.
mhm,
So it was for a few years, I was too scared to charge the same on both sides, even though they were getting exactly the same service, the exact same person, the exact same skill set. I
mhm.
was too terrified and I was so desperate for Childcare HR to work that I was like undercutting it. Um, and I ended up working so hard for so little. Like I was at
Mm,
full capacity and not even earning half the amount I was supposed to be earning. So gradually, gradually, I still have my moments, but gradually I've been building that to being more intentional and that my product costs are the same.
nice.
Actually, the expertise needs to be higher and
Well,
the
yeah, it
knowledge
seems
needs to be
more
higher in childcare, but they
more
can't.
complicated.
Yeah, but yeah, they're now exactly the same.
Good.
I obviously have some legacies, but they
Yeah.
are exactly the same, and when I go out to quote, they are the same.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to do that though when you start something out, whether there's a lot of competition or if it's just in an area that has never quite had what you are selling before. Sometimes doing it for cheaper is the best way to
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
Or
absolutely.
unless you are just insane at sales and you just love pushing and pushing and pushing,
I think
you know.
yeah, no, that's not me. I think absolutely you need to you need to go on that journey, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've gotta go on that journey just to be like, "I can't believe I did that," but
Yeah.
actually, I need to do that to know why I'm not gonna do that again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And pricing and charging,
Mm,
that's just universal.
mm,
That's universally difficult. There isn't kind of like, "Oh, this particular area are really bad at it." I think and you go on an entrepreneur journey, you will struggle with
mhm.
your pricing.
Yeah,
You
all the
will.
time.
And with
Yeah.
your confidence in your pricing and feeling
Mhm.
like you have the audacity to charge what you are worth.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because you want the work and you want people to like you and you want
Mhm.
people to recommend you and you think, "Well, if I do this favor and I do this, I'll do this pro bono or I'll just add this in or I'll cut my price on this one."
Mm,
You think they'll like you more.
mm,
And they don't. They like you the same.
mhm.
Or they don't respect you as much or your time as much. And if they're paying more the actual value of your time, then I feel they respect it more.
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, it's been a hard lesson.
Mm. I think that's a really nice place to end.
Yeah.
Um, I do have 6 quick fire questions for
Okay.
you. Um, but before I get there, I just want to say thank you for speaking with me so openly about all the topics that we've covered here
You're welcome.
today.
Yeah, thanks for
Um,
having me. It's been fun.
yeah, it's been really fun. Really fun. So, my 6 questions, you can answer them in 1 word, 1 sentence, but if you go into a couple of sentences, that is fine as well.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Richard.
so the first one is, what's been the most insightful conversation that you've had recently and why? Or the most interesting?
Oh my gosh, that's hard. Um, oh my God, I don't know. Most insightful question or conversation. Um, oh gosh. James, what did you
Shall we move on?
do me now? God, everyone just comes to me with me to know the answers.
We'll get to the next one. We can come back to that one.
Okay.
Um, what's one subject that you wish you knew more about? Personally, professionally?
Um, one subject. For me, I think it's for my personal business, finance.
Mhm,
I would love to really understand numbers.
mhm,
It's my one thing, and if you speak to anybody that like in my mastermind 9 group or in any kind of accountability stuff, they'll always be like, She just I think I've got it, and then I just do not have it, and I'd love to have that gift. I respect them so much, people that get numbers. I get so jealous of them.
Yeah, I'm not very good at reading my statements either. Number three, what is one place in the world that you visited that you'll never forget?
Koh Samui in Thailand.
Mm.
I went when I was a child, and it was when you were allowed to elephant trek.
Nice.
And I just the one like, my happy, calm place I became like, yeah, elephant trekking up a mountain in Koh Samui, feeding them
That
fruit.
sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so cool. Um, what is or who is one person that you haven't met that you'd love to have a conversation with? They have to be alive.
Alive, okay. Um, it's gonna be really cliche, but I think, like, Stephen Bartlett,
Mhm.
I'd love to just get in a room and have a good chat with
Pick
him.
his brain. Yeah,
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 yeah. I know that sounds really cliche, but I do find him fascinating and what he can do in his 24 hours.
yeah. I do as well. Yeah, big time. Okay, last two. When did you feel most vulnerable or time you felt most vulnerable in your life?
Um, After I quit my job
Mm,
and had nothing to go to, and yeah,
mm.
yeah, it's when I felt most vulnerable.
And then
Oh,
the last one, something that you've done that you're most proud of.
bloody hell, my business.
Mhm,
Yeah, it's gotta be.
mhm.
Yeah,
Gotta be.
it's gotta be. Bloody proud of that.